how to keep possession. It's a complete guide for you guys, so let me cook with this tutorial. Now, if you haven't yet subscribed, what are you doing? I'm hitting you with tutorials day in, day out throughout the year of the AFC, so be sure to hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2024. Can we do it? Let's get into it. First up, what not to do when in possession of the ball is avoiding unnecessary possession. What I mean by that is people think when I say to them, keep possession, that they need to keep the ball around the back, switch continuously between their defenders, and keep needless possession. No. Possession needs to have purpose. It's the same as passing. Passing needs to have purpose. You shouldn't just be passing for the sake of passing, which is the same as keeping possession for the sake of keeping possession. At the end of the day, your possession doesn't score goals. It's how you keep the ball and how you get the ball into crucial areas, which can be a product of keeping possession, but that possession needs to have a purpose. Now, I want to delve into the best formations for keeping possession, because your formation can play a crucial part in your ability to actually keep the ball. The best formations to actually keep possession include the 4-4-2, the 4-2-3-1, as well as the 4-2-2-2. In general, wide formations that have CDMs available to combat through and offer options in the middle are the best formations for keeping the ball. In terms of tactics for these formations, they are already up on the channel, so you can go and check them out. But in my opinion, these are the best formations for keeping the ball, more importantly, keeping possession. Now, just briefly, I do want to delve off into various custom tactics that can actually help with you keeping possession. Yeah, there of course is the ironic possession tactic. This does help in forcing your attackers to spread out apart from each other and get into more ball receiving areas. This allows you to keep the ball a lot better because they are more spread out, and it will allow you to keep possession a lot easier. But for me, I personally don't like this because it doesn't allow you to string passes together as quickly, which can be necessary sometimes when trying to get away from press or from any pressure from your opponent. But what I will say is direct passing is yet another tactic that is very helpful for keeping the ball. That's simply because a lot of your players will then come towards the ball carrier to offer you passing options. And this is what you're after. When keeping the ball, you're wanting passing options when you're building up. This will allow you guys to bypass any press or any pressure from your opponent. We then have calling a man short. And this is rather important because if you're suffering from minimal passing options being available, then the call towards technique is a very viable technique to offer yourself a passing option. If you point the left stick towards an attacker and tap R1, it will cause that attacker to run towards you on the ball, and it will offer you a passing option if in need. I know direct passing offers direct automatically, but R1 causes the player to come very close to you to offer for that option if you're in need of a passing option to keep the ball. I then want to delve off into possession-based attacking techniques, and more specifically, recycling the ball. This is a very effective method of, number one, keeping possession, because you're not just forcing the ball into the 18-yard box and attempting to attack without any structure. And number two, it's a great way of breaking down the defense. Simply because by taking the ball out wide and then recycling back into the middle, it allows you to exploit the gaps and spaces that open up in the center from dragging that defense out wide. It's a very effective technique. When you're out wide, you want to notice when your opponent is essentially dragging his defenders out there. Then you want to quickly recycle, keeping possession, to then exploit the gaps and spaces in the center. Second up, we have hitting the striker's feet. A very, very crucial technique to utilize and keep in possession in EAFC. You need to hit the striker's feet to allow you to keep the ball in certain scenarios. It will basically allow you to control the ball with your striker, then you're able to dribble backwards, dragging defenders out with this technique and keep the ball. If you're being pressed in the midfield and you need an option, the striker will always offer for the ball. You can hit him and it will get you away from the press, and more importantly, you'll be able to keep possession whilst at the same time creating gaps and spaces to exploit. I now want to move into utilizing your wingbacks in possession. If you go back to the FIFA 17 days where Vitality Rocky was the first competitive FIFA player champion, he always used his wingbacks. Why I know this is simply because I looked up to him personally when I was trying to become a pro, and Rocky was a very good possession-based player, and the wingbacks touched the ball the most out of any player for him when it came to keeping possession. What you'll notice about your wingbacks as well is that they will always be free. They will always be free, and you'll be able to hit them with a pass or with a lob every time you win the ball back to then start off your build-up and start off your possession attack. But you want to essentially build up using your wingbacks. You want to revert back to them when you have minimal options and use them a lot to start keeping possession and dragging the defense out from minute one. They are the portal to possession-based play, specifically when using the formations that I mentioned earlier in this video. Another possession-based attacking technique is the slow build-up into fast tempo. You see, when keeping the ball, if you keep possession and you're playing at just a single pace, you can become predictable and your opponent will read you. But if you're interchanging between slow and fast build-up techniques, whether that be slow with dribbling on the ball and just taking your time, into quick tiki-taka passing, then your possession play will become unpredictable, which would be a lot better for breaking down your opponent. It is super crucial that you alternate between tempos so that you're more unpredictable in your possession play. But I do want to briefly go into what skill moves are actually beneficial for keeping possession. And what I will say is any skill move that allows you to take the ball away from the defender to help you keep possession is a skill move that will benefit you in trying to keep the ball. For instance, the ball roll. The ball roll keeps it in tight to you and allows you to take the ball away from an approaching defender. This is very beneficial for you because you will be able to keep the ball, number one, and number two, the ball roll isn't necessarily the skill move that takes the ball away from you too far, like maybe a burger spin does or an elastico. No, it keeps it in tight to you, which allows you to essentially keep the ball. Now, of course, there are other skill moves that you can revert to, and I have uploaded various skill move tutorials on the channel so far this year in EAFC, so you can revert back to them if you find it necessary. Keeping your back to the opponent. People often have trouble keeping possession because of the way that they left stick dribble. You always need to dribble into the space and always need to ensure that your back is towards the attacker, the defender, who is attempting to defend against you. If your back isn't to him, then he will have an easier opportunity to winning the ball back. You need to keep your back to the opponent to ensure that you keep possession and keep the ball protected at all times. We now have keeping possession in the box. Now this simply comes down to your ability to look at the space and hit the space when on the ball and dribbling in EAFC. Quite often people will be in the box but not know how to keep the ball simply because they're focusing too much on the defenders, which then causes them to sway their attack towards that defender. No, you need to take the ball towards the space. Focus on the space with your eyes, and you will naturally, with your hand-eye coordination, take the ball towards that direction. This all needs to be done whilst you take into consideration that you must keep your back to the opponent on the ball. This, in turn, will allow you guys to essentially keep the ball in such a tight area inside the box. Last but not least, we have utilizing your goalkeeper to keep possession. And this falls in line with what I've taught previously in a press tutorial, that you must use your goalkeeper at times to get away from press. Same goes for when keeping possession. When you think about it, the goalkeeper is a lot of the time the only man free. There are 10 infield players on your side and 10 infield players on your opponent's side. They are all marking each other, but your opponent's goalkeeper isn't going to mark yours, is he? So he's always free. And then from there, if you're struggling for an option when it comes to keeping possession and even getting away from press, it will force your opponent to take one of his attackers and approach the goalkeeper. And what that will do is then leave one of your defenders free. And it will then be a domino effect from there. You'll be able to keep the ball, get away from the press, and more importantly, keep possession. Now, if you want to get personal one-on-one coaching with me, you can. The link is down below. In my opinion, it's better than spending money on FIFA points, because at the end of the day, a better team is not going to make you a better player. It's how you use that team. It's your skill and ability as well as mentality that will improve your game and get you better results, which will get you better rewards to get a better team. So check that out. The link is down below, but I'm out. Sayonara, au revoir, adios, salam, ciao. Goodbye. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. And lastly, if you do want any pre-gaming fuel or supplement, then head over to atpscience.com, which is the first link in the description, and use the code DylanEtsATP at checkout to get yourself a discount. Not only is it the cheapest way to get supplements, but it helps me out a ton, guys, so thank you.